Welcome back to the formulaic approach. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the questions that came out today in the UTME exam that was written by um, the first set, second and third set that I wrote today, that were scheduled for today. So now one of the things I want you to know is that the questions that I have here are the questions that came out today, and they are the ones that seemed tedious. The student finds it easier to remember the question that he was unable to solve than the one that he easily solved. Exactly. So these ones are the questions that were probably extrapolated from maybe the middle of the textbook, where students will often just, overlook. Do you understand? So the first one is hematite is an ore of which of the following metals? And the answer is iron. Hematite is an ore of iron. Which of the following is suitable for fountain test experiment? The answer is A also, HCl and ammonia, hydrogen chloride gas and ammonia. Now, fountain test experiment, the condition for the suitability of a substance or a chemical compound for fountain test is is the solubility of that compound in water. The solubility of that compound in water. So this guy is highly soluble in water. So if it's very soluble in water, then it can perform fountain test. So HCl and NH3. Which of these is used to form a slag during extraction of ore? The answer is CaCO3 is used to form a slag during the extraction of ore. Don't forget, it's not this. This does not even exist. Exactly. Quicklime is not used. Quicklime is actually combined with carbon dioxide to form this before the extraction process is done. Exactly. Which of these is capable of decolorizing bromine water? Now, the student did not remember the options, but he said the answer is either any alkyne that is given or any alkene that is given. Okay. Now, both of them will not be given. Don't forget to be one of them, either an alkyne or an alkene. And for you to identify it, just remember the formula, the general formula, CnH2n for alkyne and CnH2n, I'm sorry, minus 2 for alkyne and CnH2n for alkene. Okay, so anyone that goes with it, for example, I write C3 now H8, this is alkane. If I write C3 H maybe 6, this will be what? Alkene. So this guy can decolorize bromine water. As well, if I write C3H4, for example, um, that'll be that'll be alkyne. Exactly. So this guy can also decolorize bromine water. An alloy that contains manganese is, so my student said he actually failed with this one. An alloy that contains manganese is, the answer is steel. Now, solder does not contain manganese. Type metal does not contain manganese. This guy contains lead and tin, I think. Then type metal is made of is an alloy from the combination of antimony, I think nickel as well. But this one steel consists of iron, Fe, and manganese, and I think chromium. Okay, so but majorly the manganese is an ore of is an steel contains manganese as one of the metals that make it up. And make sure to subscribe. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Now, which of these metal is selected for its lightweight? Now, generally it is Al because we know that aluminium is light weighted. A pack name for this compound. This will be 1, 2, 3. This will be propene because it will go like this: 1, 2, 3. That will be propene. Or they might give you prop 1 in. It's also correct. Exactly. Propene. Then for this guy here, the name of this guy will be 1, 2. That will be ethan 1, 2 diol. Ethan 1, ethane 1, 2 diol. Okay. Ethane 1, 2 diol because OH is on both carbon 1 and 2. Then you could be asked what's the function of this guy. I think 1,2-diol is used as an antifreeze agent. Antifreeze agent, okay, in car radiators. In radiators. Don't forget that. And which of these is a giant molecule? No, these are giant molecules except the answer is sucrose. Sucrose is the only guy here that is not a giant molecule. Protein and enzymes are giant molecules. Okay, protein is made up of um, you know, polypeptides that have undergone um, alpha, beta, and all forms of transformations. But enzymes are polypeptides. Then sucrose is basically a disaccharide of sucrose will be fructose plus glucose, I think. So that guy is not a giant molecule, is a disaccharide. Soaps are soluble because of the presence of which ions? The sodium and COOH3. This is what is contributed by the the fatty acid backbone. Then this one is from the soda line, NaOH, caustic soda that is used in the process. So that's the answer, not this. Exactly. The alkanol obtained via saponification is glycerol. So the alcohol that is obtained is glycerol. Glycerol will be separated when you react um, a triglycerides. Basically, triglycerides are fats. Exactly. Triglycerides. Triglycerides. So they are triglyceride. Triglyceride means there is a glycerol backbone. Glycerol is propan 1,2,3 triol. So there will be carbon 1, 2, and 3, and OH group, OH group, OH group. So now this propan 1,2,3 triol. Then to each of these will be attached fatty acid, fatty acid, fatty acid. So by the time you break that bond, you produce your glycerol back. So the answer is glycerol. Which protein fraction is used as jet fuel? That is kerosene. Electricity. And now the question on electrolysis is what volume of chlorine gas is produced at STP if 5 amps of current passed passed through a solution blah 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 for 30 minutes. My students confirmed that after solving they got 11.2 dm cube, and what he basically did was quantity of electricity will be equal to IT, and ID is 5 amps times time will be 30 times 60. This will give you 1800 times 5, that will be 9,000. So 9,000 will discharge how many grams of chlorine? First, you know that for the oxidation for the discharge of chlorine gas, it has to be a gas. We have Cl will it will be at the anode. What happens in the anode is it will be at the anode, yes. What happens in the anode is that this guy will um, lose as oxidation at the anode. And oxidation is loss of electrons. So it will lose an electron, so and become Cl, so that we have Cl, so we have Cl2 becomes 2Cl minus. The point I want to show you here plus 2E minus. So there are two electrons. So the point I'm trying to show you here is that two electrons are needed. So it will be 2 times of this that you use. So and the gram of this guy is 35.5 gram of molar mass of chlorine. So times for Cl2 it will be 71. So you now say that it requires 2 Faraday of electricity to discharge it. To discharge, that is 2 times 9, 6,500 discharges 71 grams. Therefore 9,000. By the time you do your workings, you are going to get a particular mole. You will now convert that mole to dm3. So you just say 22.4 dm3 is equal to 1 mole of that gas. Therefore, 3.3 whatever. I mean, yeah, this is 1 mole. 1 mole is 71 gram. So the what you calculated rather, excuse me, 22.4 dm cube is 1 mole, and 1 mole is 71 gram for Cl2. So how many dm cube will be that? The number you got here, exactly the number you will get from F. And the answer he calculated he got was 11.2. Ethyl in the laboratory. Okay, ethyl laboratory preparation includes action of water on calcium carbide. Don't forget calcium carbide. Argon is used in gas-filled electric lamp to prevent oxidation because it prevents. Okay, the function of argon there, I think that was what he said was that it prevented oxidation. Now I also added that another way it could be asked is that it keeps the lamp burning. It prevents it because if it gets oxidized, the lamp will go off. Exactly. So it keeps it burning or it prevents its oxidation. The indicator best for ethanol for ethanoic acid, for ethanoic acid and one other base is what? Now ethanoic acid being a weak base, generally we use the indicator we use for weak base is phenolphthalein. So this is the correct answer. This is wrong. Methyl red, no. Methyl orange, no. Exactly. Phenolphthalein is generally used for weak bases. Which of these have pH less than 7? We have lime water and vinegar. COH is lime water, and this guy is COH is lime water, and this guy is an alkali. Alkali. So the answer is lime juice and vinegar. Concentrated H2SO4 is used for what? It's actually for drying gases. That's what we use it for. Not for neutralizing base. And not for production of hydrogen. He also said the food production of hydrogen. It is dilute acid, action of metal on dilute acid that produces H hydrogen gas, not concentrated acid. Now, this was also, he said there was one stoichiometry question for volumetric analysis that was given to him. And when he calculated, he got 1. 1 as the, I think, I can't really remember what he even said, but 1 was the answer. But this was the component. Then cm cube of 0.1 mole per dm cube. And the reason why I'm just paraphrasing some stuff is when you get some of these questions, it gives you speed for those of you that normally waste time. When we get to physics, I'll just mention those things briefly too. Now I didn't write the questions on physics down. I remember them. So, but the point is this, that this is going to help you to be to be faster when you approach some questions. Which of these is a neutral oxide? Is that you see nitrogen 2 oxide or nitrogen or carbon monoxide or carbon 2 oxide? That's another way it is written. Carbon 2 oxide is carbon monoxide. Exactly. So both of them are neutral oxides. Anyone you are provided with in your exam. But you will not be provided both of them in different options. Keep that in mind. And laughing gas is nitrogen 1 oxide. That's N2O. That's laughing gas. Don't forget that. N2O. A spontaneous reaction has the delta G to be what? Negative. Don't forget that. The delta G of a spontaneous reaction is negative. Which of these acids is unlikely to form a basic salt? A basic salt is a salt that will still have OH in between the metal and the cation and the anion, the last anion here, the radical here. So for that reason, the answer is HNO3. HNO3. So it's unlikely or is unlikely, yeah, that way. Okay, I think acidic salt, not basic salt. That would be acidic salt, not basic salt, sorry. That was what he said. Which one is likely to form acidic? So that would be HNO3. I just remember that he said HNO3 was the answer. Which among these is not a normal salt? When there is not a normal salt, this guy is not a normal salt, he's an acidic salt. You can find hydrogen in between. So this one is unlikely to form a salt that will have hydrogen in it. Because you can already see H is 1 here. So because of limited supply of hydrogen. Which gas is evolved when Cl2 is bubbled in water. That's O2, oxygen gas. Now, you could also be asked in a different way that which one is used gas is evolved to prove the bleaching power of chlorine is still O2. Exactly, and it happens in the presence of sunlight. Don't forget that. It happens in the presence of sunlight. The method used in the separation of reactive metals such as sodium is electrolysis. Yes, they are too reactive to be extracted using reduction by carbon. Okay, so they are very much more reactive than carbon. So for that reason, we use electrolytic process for um, extracting them. Then this one, Haber process. This is Haber process. Don't forget. In Haber process, the catalyst uses Fe. The function of this catalyst of this ion is finely divided ion catalyst, though. Finely divided ion catalyst. Okay, so and the function is to lower the uh, activation energy. Now, this one, he said there was a reaction and the change in enthalpy was given to be positive. Now, how do you aid the formation of more of this forward reaction? The product. Now be you increase temperature since the change in enthalpy is positive. It's an endothermic reaction. Endothermic reaction. The purest form of ion is wrought iron. Don't forget that, wrought iron. During electrolysis of NaOH using platinum electrode, the solution becomes more basic. Don't forget, the solution will become more basic. Alright. Then for biology, and let's move to biology. For biology, I'll just go straight to the question. Which one is likely to form a bud? Is Hydra. Hydra reproduces by budding. It's a form of asexual reproduction. Spirogyra reproduces by conjugation. Conjugation is a special form of sexual reproduction. And simple multicellular organisms. Which one is a simple yet multicellular? That is sponges. It exists as a colony. Exactly, it exists as a colony. He also mentioned something in English about this colony. I'll talk about it. Who posited that acquired characters could be passed on? Jean-Baptiste Lamarck. Don't forget, that was the guy. So the answer is Lamarck. And he said there were two questions on crossing. He said he couldn't remember the first one, but the second one has to do with capital a homozygous round and homozygous for wrinkled. So he said the F1 generation, the answer is after crossing it, F1 generation will be all round and F2 generation will be 3 round, 1 wrinkled. Now, which of this is a sex-linked genetic this thing? The answer is hemophilia. Hemophilia and baldness, they are sex-linked. Color blindness, sex-linked. Exactly. Now, the next one I said there was a diagram like this, and the beak, this beak that is shown here, this beak is adapted for what? As you can see, it's actually adapted for fruit feeding. Fruit feeding, exactly. The beak of hawk is adapted for tearing. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. The beak of a hawk is adapted for flesh tearing. Monocot stem lacks teeth. Now, I want you to check this out, please. Confirm this one. But I think it's correct. Monocot stem lacks the teeth. And the part of the brain that is sensitive to smell is the olfactory lobe. He also said, I think they asked something on the one that is sensitive that is for balancing. And that's for balancing and muscle coordination or something like that. And that's cerebellum. Don't forget cerebellum, the small brain, olfactory lobe. Exactly. That is in the forebrain of the cerebrum. The vein that carries the oxygenated blood from the kidney. What's associated with kidney? Renal. Exactly. So it's renal vein. And the only artery that carries oxygenated blood is the pulmonary artery. Now again, keep in mind, I say one of what this will do for you is you see the question, you just speak directly, quickly. Exactly. I mean, sometimes you have to make sure you read it before you just speak, but this will speed you up a little bit more. Exactly. The endoplasmic reticulum, the function of the endoplasmic reticulum is to transport material. Exactly, is to transport materials within the cell. Which part is the non-essential? That's petal. If you look at it well, you may think that petal is an essential part because it serves as an attractant. But there are some flowers that don't use petals. They don't need petals to even attract their pollinating agents. Okay, so when um, you are given an option like this. These are the major reproductive structures. So petal then becomes the non-essential feature. Then he said the diagram was like this was given, and this part is the oval. The point of attachment of the oval to this guy, this surface here, I think that will be called that point of attachment is the placenta. The placenta. But this structure here, one of it is called the oval. One of these guys is the oval. Okay. Presence of nutrients like nitrates and phosphates in abundance in water causes or leads to eutrophication. Don't forget, eutrophication means overloading of nutrients. It's like a nutrient overload. Then cones of the eyes. Are they cells, organs, or tissues? They are cells. Cones and rods. Remember that they are light sensitive, right? So one is sensitive to dim light, the other is sensitive to bright light. So those are the questions that also came out in biology. Now for physics, a question like this, he said came out. A question like this. So, and how do you solve this? You basically find the sum of forces on x-axis and sum of forces on y-axis. That's summation y, summation f. What will be the sum of forces on x-axis? You resolve this one to the x-axis. That will be 4 plus, you resolve this one to this axis. It will be negative here, so it will be minus 2 root 2. If you are opening this angle, that will be sine 45 granite. Exactly. So this becomes, excuse me, this becomes 44, 4, then minus 2 root 2 times sine 45 is root 2 over 2. This takes care of this, and you have root 4, that is 2. So that will be 4 minus 2, that is 2. And for y-axis, you resolve this guy here again, you get the same answer 2 because cos 45 and sine 45 are the same. So, and this is also minus. So it will be subtracted from 6, that's 4. So your resultant will be equal to the square root of 4 squared plus 2 squared. 4 squared is 8 plus 4. And 4 squared is 16 rather, plus 4. That will be 20. Answer will be 2 root 5. Or, by the time you take root of this, the answer you get is 4 point, if you use your calculator, 4.47 according to me, and the answer will be 4.5 approximately. That will be your resultant. Then another question that I said was asked in physics was about one. Make sure you're listening. Make sure you're listening. There was one particular question on. He said there was one particular question on um, work function. This guy, quantum physics and nuclear physics all together as well. So um, there is a question on. There was a question on Planck's constant, E equal to hf. Exactly. E is given to you, H is given to you, and you're asked to find this. But the E that is given to you is given to you in electron volts. So you multiply by, and one electron is 1.9 times 10 to the power 1.6 times 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. So this is the charge of one electron. You multiply it by whatever you are given as the energy there, and you divide it by Planck's constant. Planck's constant is 6.63 times 10 to the power minus 34. He said the answer you get is 3 point something times 10 to the power 15 exactly hertz. So that's that. That's that for the physics. That will be second question. The third question he also said was, I didn't write this down. So he mentioned something about the pinhole camera and What's the name? Then he mentioned one question about inclined plane system. Okay, and then the velocity ratio was being asked. Remember that velocity ratio is equal to 1 over sine theta. In that situation, you were given 20 and 1 here. You were given the slant height of that inclined plane, the length of that inclined plane, and this place. By the time you do your maths, you'll get 20 as your velocity ratio. So don't forget 20 as a velocity ratio. Because sine theta will be equal to opposite, which is this place, over hypotenuse, which is this place. 1 over that will be 20 over 1. So that confirms it. 1 over that will be 20 over 1. Then number 4. Another question was asked on an impedance. He said something like this. One was asked on inductance, he said, and the energy stored is use the formula 1 over Li squared. Exactly, Li squared. This guy giving them your current squared, half of that, you get your answer. Then another one was on impedance. So Z is equal to, the formula you have to use is Z equal to, I can't really remember all the values he gave me, but he said R was 5 and R was 5 and no, R was 45 rather, and the L was 0.5. So R was 45 squared plus 45 squared plus x sub L all squared. I have to find x sub L, and the formula for that x sub L is equal to 2 pi FL. He said that pi will be given to you as 22 over 7 there, so that. Then there was another one on waves that you have y equal to, let me see, 0.34 sine t over 2 plus x over 0.93. And the answer, and you have to find the wave number. Find wave number. Now, for this one, it's also very simple. The answer is just 1 over 0.93, which is said was 1.08. Alright, 1.08. Then another one, the answer I said for this one was 163.5 ohms. That's the unit of impedance. Ohms. Now, number 7. Another one was on, there was this piston system. Said an hydraulic system, and they now put large piston, large piston, and small piston. The large piston was said to have 0.01 meter squared area. This one 0.05 meter squared area. And then a force of 5 Newton was applied on the large one. And he now said, what is the pressure? The pressure is basically just 500 Newton per meter squared. Or, because it's just by dividing this guy by, I'm dividing this guy rather. This force was applied on the large. So dividing this guy by this guy, you get this. Now, because pressure is transferred equally in all directions, this does not affect anything. The pressure will be the same in that place also. The smallest piston as well. Now, another one was on this question he said on waves. Okay, so that's basically it. Then he talked about Young's modulus, the unit of Young's modulus. The unit of Young's modulus. Remember that Young's modulus is FL over A, and this is the unit of this is Newton and is meter. So they cancel out. So that's the unit of pressure. Just do unit of pressure. That'll be ml T raised power minus 2 over L squared. This takes care of this. It becomes m L raised power minus 1 T raised power minus 2. Don't forget this. It should be the same unit as unit of pressure. M L raised power minus 1 T raised power minus 2. Then for the now for Boyle's law, the answer was this. Now which one illustrates Boyle's law? Pressure and V inverse is here. Don't forget, it's V inverse that is being plotted against. So it will look like this. In case they change the question though, P to be plotted against V looks like this. The graph looks like this. So, but if you plot against V in P inverse, it will give you this because pressure is directly proportional to the inverse of V, or pressure is inverse proportional to V. Exactly. It's the same thing that I just said. Pressure is directly proportional to the inverse of V, and pressure is inversely proportional to V. Exactly. So that's why the graph is like this. Then another question was on this ah, let me see. I also said there was a question on there was a question on motion that the slope of displacement time graph. Displacement time graph. The answer is displacement time graph. The answer is velocity. Why the slope of velocity time graph is acceleration. Exactly. Alright. So that's it now. Let's go to it. The English. The new words were the things I probably got the most from me. The new words that came out and the answers he picked were maybe this one was a typo because I didn't agree so much with him. So fasted was he picked pleasant. And that was the best bet because he said the other options were experienced and one other thing like that. And it's not so fastidious means someone that is meticulous. So someone that is meticulous can be annoying at times. So the best bet is pleasant for opposite in meaning. And there's striking resemblance. I think that would be eye catching. That was what he said, eye catching. Because he said there was one other option which was compelling. And that seemed to be the answer, but the answer is actually eye catching. Another word is um, this one fastidious chef, he said. Another one. Then for the sounds, we have the word pat and plat. Plat, exactly. Plat. Then incontestable. Incontestable, that will be test. That is a stress. This one is for stress. Incontestable. Then, which other one? For new words. Okay. Um, avaricious. Now you should find the meaning of the word avaricious. I think avaricious means someone that is wicked. You will find the meaning, please. Find the meaning of this one. Avaricious. Find the meaning. Okay? For the new words, I remembered all of them. I said avaricious and this other guy. Expedite. And that was the answer. I think expedite he said was the answer. Expedite. That was the answer. So then for the text you were asked to read, take note of those numbers, those money, for example, and the amount that they found in the cooperative society thing like that. I think it said 25 million or 50 million or something. So check out those things. So do well to subscribe to the channel. God bless you.